Well, one of the most surprising moves of the 2023 free agency period was Fred VanVleet to the Rockets on a huge 3-year, $130 million deal. And first of all, congrats to Freddie. I mean, he got the bag. I'm pretty sure his first contract in the league was like $500,000, and now he's making $130 million in 3 years. Like, congrats to Freddie. Quite what a story from being an undrafted player to working all the way up to this. Of course, in the start of the career, it really wasn't looking very well for, of course, all undrafted players, but he worked hard. He soon helped win the championship in 2019 with the Raptors, and then he became that all-star. He became the leader of this Raptors team, especially when Kyle Lowry was gone. He took the role as being the leader, being the lead initiator, and I do think that it took a little bit too much on his hands. Like, he had the ball almost every single possession. It was kind of a little bit too much for him. That's why his efficiency was kind of down. But like Freddie, an amazing player. Now, is he a top 30 player? Is he worth $40 million a year? Maybe not, but like, it's interesting because like the Rockets had the money. They had the money to give to Freddie, but I mean, there really weren't many options. There weren't any like young guys or like vets that would help contribute. So I guess Freddie isn't like a bad option for them, but it's a lot of money for Freddie. And I mean, yes, they had money to spend. So I don't think it's as bad as if you just look at the number and he just goes to this rebuilding team, you might think it's bad, but like honestly, his fit isn't that bad. I mean, yes, he might take away some shots from Amen Thompson. Maybe Amen Thompson doesn't start anymore, but like Amen is 6'7", and I still think he can learn from Freddie. Freddie can also play off ball, as we saw when he played with Kyle Lowry. He's a good shooter. Maybe he wasn't the most efficient last season, but like Freddie's a good shooter, can knock down some big shots, and I think if he can help Amen Thompson develop, and of course you don't always want these young guys to get these huge roles. Of course you want them to get minutes, but like you want a veteran there to help assist them. You want like a Chris Paul. I know Fred VanVleet isn't that level, but like someone who can guide these young players to just how to get accumulated to this league. And of course, the Kevin Porter Jr., I really don't know what to think about KPJ. Of course, he's talented still, and like he had that like 50-point game like 2 years ago, but like I don't think that point guard experiment really worked. So I think they're probably direction there, but like Freddie still isn't bad. I mean, in this All-Star year, he put up about 20 points, 7 rebounds, 7 assists, and 4 rebounds on 38% from 3. Like, that's still pretty solid. Of course, I wouldn't say he's worth $40 million like Kawhi Leonard, Anthony Davis, Devin Booker type money, but like still, a lot of people are getting paid, and for this Rockets team that had the money that they were willing to spend, and it's not like a 4-year, 5-year contract, so it isn't as bad, but like, Freddie's still a good passer. I think it's gonna really help out Jalen Green and Jabari Smith. People forget about Jabari Smith. I mean, like, sure, he wasn't that 3rd overall pick caliber player that we expected, but like, he had those moments where you saw the moments of defense, you saw the shooting capability, and maybe his shot wasn't as good as we wanted, but like Jabari Smith is still a decent player that I think with the looks that Fred VanVleet can get him, I think he'd be pretty decent. I mean, we saw OG Anunoby thrive with Fred VanVleet, Scotty Barnes thrive with Fred VanVleet, so I think Freddie could definitely make it work with those guys. And Jalen Green, I mean, more off ball, not being that like main initiator where he has to pass as much, just focus on scoring, of course, make the best play, but like I think this can help out Jalen Green a lot as well. And they of course have a new coach in Ime Udoka, who I'm very sure wants to compete. He of course was with the Celtics, made it all the way to the finals, and he knows that this team has talent and he wants to bring it all together. They still have Sengun, still a solid center. I mean, mini Jokic, some people have been saying that, and I wouldn't say he's that good yet, but like you see the passes, you see the post up, and sure, his defense isn't great, but like he still has the potential that Freddie, having that lead point guard, that the guy who can just organize everything, get everything rolling for all these young guys, can definitely help a lot. And then the Rockets overpaid for Dillon Brooks, 4-year, $80 million. I really don't get it. I mean, sure, you might want another wing, but like a 4-year contract, $20 million a year for Dillon Brooks, like with all the drama he's gonna bring, I think you could have gotten him for cheaper. But maybe they like Dillon Brooks for some reason. Maybe he hopes he can toughen up the young guys. I really don't know, but like it's interesting. I mean, they had money to spend. There were reports that they were gonna get Brook Lopez, and apparently like Brook Lopez was gonna sign with them, but then he backed out last minute and then went back to the Bucks. So I really don't know what happened there, but like still, they had this young crop of talent, and having these vets I think helps a lot. We've seen players like Joe Ingles, like the PJ Tuckers, the Udonis Haslem of the world, that being vets, having a solid vet there is really crucial, and especially Freddie, who can still initiate this offense, help these young guys, is going to help a lot. But then on the other side, the Toronto Raptors, I mean, it isn't looking that good. Of course, they weren't gonna pay Freddie 40 million. Like, I know they love Freddie. Freddie was, of course, their point guard for what, 4 years? He's been there for like 6 years, but like paying him 40 million, I'm sure they didn't really want to do that. But like, man, they really just lost him for nothing. I know they signed Dennis Schroeder, but like, Dennis Schroeder is definitely a big downgrade, especially as a shooter. Like, Dennis Schroeder, watching those Laker games, he can hit an occasional three, but like, you can't really count on him and like, shooting just isn't his strength, and you can't really count on him being that main point guard. And he's decent, of course, he's probably a better driver than Freddie, and he's a decent passer, but like, there's kind of a hole at point guard. Maybe they hope that like Malachi Flynn can step in. Maybe they hope that Scotty Barnes can be that point forward that we've shown spurts of. But like, they need to see some internal development. Unless they get this, I don't know, maybe they make a trade. Maybe they trade Pascal Siakam for a solid point guard. Maybe they trade OG Anunoby for someone. And there's been a lot of reports about how this team is either gonna blow it up or just run it. I mean, Masai Ujiri has shown that he doesn't want to rebuild fully, but he's willing to retool. Like, Pascal Siakam, there's been trade rumors about him for like the last 2 years now, and I think honestly it might happen. There's reports that there's a trade out for Pascal for Dame, like all of their picks, Pascal Siakam, another young player for Dame. I don't really know if they'd be very interesting there. Of course, they signed Jakob Poeltl to a huge, like, what, 4-year 80 million? I think 4-year 80 million, something around that, but it's interesting. I think OG Anunoby's also, I think any team would want OG Anunoby. I mean, he's a good defender, he's a 3-and-D player, and he's not only a 3-and-D player, he can do some off-the-dribble stuff. He's really improved as a shot creator, and I think that they can get some pretty decent value. They have Gary Trent Jr. He's a free agent right now. There's reports they want to lock him to a big contract. I mean, he's a really solid player, a tall wing, decent defender, can shoot really well. And it's interesting. I mean, of course, it's a lot on Scotty Barnes, because Scotty Barnes in his rookie season was like incredible. Rookie of the year. He showed those just lengthy moments where if he improved his jump shot especially, he could be dangerous in this league. But last year, they just had too many forwards, and it was really crowded with OG, Scotty, or OG, Pascal, a couple other people, Otto Porter, and now maybe they can open up some more room for him. Maybe he's like Jason Tatum, where like his first season is good, his second year not as good, the sophomore slump, but like his third year, he really breaks out and really emerges as that franchise cornerstone that this Raptors team really needs, especially if they trade Pascal Siakam away. So I'm honestly going to be expecting a couple more moves from this Raptors team. Maybe they'll keep Pascal, maybe they'll keep OG, but I really don't know. And I think that losing Freddie, that whole up point guard, might really hurt them. I mean, Malachi Flynn, I don't know if you're going to expect much from that, but like, they've always had that lead point guard, like the Kyle Lowrys of the world, the VanVleets of the world, and now that they're missing it, I don't know, they were kind of a mess last season, so I'm sure that switching some things up was what their front office wanted. But it's interesting that for the Rockets, I mean, they had the money to spend. Freddie isn't a bad player, of course isn't overpaid. Dillon Brooks isn't overpaid too, but like, they have money to spend, and we'll see how this all works out. So that being said, if you like the video, check out the channel, and I'll see you on next time.